So Tna Sacrifice 2014 took place in Orlando, Florida. The show starts with a handicap match for the World Tag Team Championship. The glorified jobbers and Zema Ion defending against the American Wolves. Decent match. The match ends with Eddie Edwards executing the double Hurricane Rana on the jobbers. Ion grabs Edwards' ankle as Edwards tries to make the tag, but he nails Ion with an enziguri. He makes the tag to Richards. Richards comes in and knocks the jobbers down. He ducks a blow from Mr. Duh and responds with kicks to the chest. Richards whips Mr. Duh off the ropes, but Mr. Duh reverses it. Richards does a handspring, bounces off the ropes, and comes back with an enziguri. Robbie E charges, but Richards sends him back toward Ion, causing Ion to hold Robbie E in a front headlock. Richards delivers a drop kick to Ion, which causes him to DDT Robbie E. He goes to the top rope and comes off with a dual drop kick to Mr. Duh and Ion. Richards charges the corner, but Ion nails him with an elbow. Ion grabs his laptop and goes for Richards' head, but he ducks and Ion hits Mr. Duh instead. Richards and Edwards deliver the alarm clock to Ion. Edwards picks Ion up in a powerbomb position, and Richards jumps up and executes a double knee backbreaker. The American Wolves go to the opposite corners, and they deliver the double foot stomp to Mr. Duh. Richards pins him for the 3. The winners of the match, the American Wolves. They have regained the World Tag Team Championship. This had to happen, and any other result would have been unacceptable. It would be safe to say that the American Wolves' second tag team title reign will be longer than 6 days. But now another problem becomes evident: the lack of tag teams for them to face. Since TNA has failed to bring in established teams to the company, their short-term solution will have to be creating teams consisting of singles wrestlers. Either way, particularly the second way, they must be wrestlers whose styles will mesh with Richards and Edwards and bring out their maximum. So then we see Jeremy Borash backstage standing behind the quote-unquote committed van, and Sam Shaw is lurking behind one of the van doors. Borash asks Shaw if he realizes that he could be headed to the bin in a matter of minutes. Shaw says that he's not going anywhere. Borash comes back at Shaw about Anderson visiting Mother Shaw. And Shaw says that his mother made him who he is and that he will be competing for her. And this is followed by a video review of some of the Shaw-Anderson angle. So then we have the committed match. Mr. Anderson versus Sam Shaw. Okay match. The match ends with Anderson taking Shaw from the ring area to the backstage area. He puts Shaw onto a production cart and pushes it into an equipment trunk. Anderson walks to the back of the van and Shaw hits him from behind. He picks up Anderson, but then Christy Hemme appears. She calms him and then she sends a knee to the balls. As he looks up at her in disbelief, Anderson comes up behind him, knees him, and mic checks him. Anderson takes his time, throws Shaw into the van, and closes the doors. The winner of the match, Mr. Anderson. The Anderson-Shaw program is done, but does Shaw and Christy continue? We may see segments with Mother Shaw visiting her son at the bin as he plots revenge against Christy. Shaw may be at a point where instead of being obsessed with Christie, he will want to inflict pain. That may be what we see next. So then we have Kurt Angle and Jeff Willow versus Ethan Carter III and Rockstar Dud. Okay match. A match more fitting for Impact than for a pay-per-view. The match ends with Angle putting the Angle lock on Dud. However, Ethan clips Angle from behind. He takes Angle's leg and attempts his leg bar submission, but Willow knocks him down. Willow delivers a reverse atomic drop to Ethan, and he follows that with a double leg drop and a front drop kick. He charges the corner with a cartwheel and a shot to the face. Dud runs toward the corner, but Willow moves out of the way, causing Dud to hit Ethan with a body avalanche. Dud falls to his fours, and Willow charges the same corner, uses Dud to elevate himself, and nails Ethan with a leg to the face. Willow throws Ethan out of the ring, leaving Dud by himself. Willow delivers the twist of fate on Dud, and Angle follows that with the Angle slam on Dud. Then Willow comes off the top rope with the Swanton bomb on Dud. He gets the 3. The winners of the match, Kurt Angle and Jeff Willow. The only positive that can be taken from this is that it serves as part of the continuing rebuilding of the Angle Ethan program, leading to a match that should take place at Slammiversary. So then we see Eric Young backstage. Young is asked how he feels about defending the world title on the pay-per-view. He says that he was able to accomplish what every wrestler wants, and he did so when others said that he couldn't. Young says that even though he knows the contenders are after him, he wants to defend the title because it represents those who are always denied. So then we see Mike Knox and Tna in the car on the road. Knox wants her with him as he returns to the company, and she says that they will be a great team. However, Knox tells her that they will be a great team plus 2. Tna wants to know which 2, and Knox says, Crazy Steve and the Freak. Tna reacts negatively, but Knox says that the more people they have, the more cash they can generate for the family business. Then he says that they're going to go get them. Now, the previous video segments with Mike Knox back home were unnecessary, a waste of time. But this group that Knox is putting together does sound intriguing. So we'll see. So then we see a pre-match segment showing Sonata defeating Austin Aries for the X Division title, Muta putting him over, as well as a training sequence. And that leads into the third match in the best of 3 for the X Division Championship, Sonata versus Tigre Uno. Solid match. Match ends with Sonata executing a Hurricane Rana on Tigre from the top rope. He comes up behind Tigre and delivers a Tiger Suplex for the pin, but Tigre kicks out. Sonata goes for a moonsault and lands on his feet as Tigre moves out of the way. Sonata charges the corner and hits him with an elbow. He pulls Tigre from the corner and double underhooks him, then lifts him onto his shoulders. However, Tigre spins around and does a roll through for the pin. However, Sonata kicks out. Sonata charges, but Tigre sidesteps him. Tigre locks him up and executes the capture suplex. He goes to the top rope and comes off with the saber-tooth splash, but Sonata moves out of the way. Sonata goes to the top rope and comes off with the moonsault and pins Tigre for the 3. The winner of the match, Sonata. Once again, TNA has to cut the capture suplex from Tigre's set, or he is going to kill someone. Tna continues to build his rep in the United States, and now the Tna Kenny King program awaits. We hope. So then we see Jeremy Borash backstage with James Storm. Borash asks Storm if he's prepared to go. Storm says that he's responsible for Gunner being over, and he can eliminate his shine if he wants. He says that Gunner will give up, and his Lord will be the one that subdues him. And this is followed by a video segment of some of the history between Storm and Gunner. And that leads into the I Quit match. James Storm versus Gunner. Good match. The match ends with Gunner trying to deliver a superplex to Storm on two chairs that are positioned opposite each other. They trade blows, and then Storm gives Gunner a headbutt. Gunner falls back to a standing position on the mat and slams Storm with a steel tray. He places the chairs further apart and lays a piece of the guardrail on top. Gunner goes back up the ropes and superplexes Storm onto the guardrail. Both men are down, but Gunner crawls across the ring and grabs a shard of glass. He goes back to Storm and holds the shard over Storm's head and tells him to quit. Gunner puts the shard to Storm's head, and Storm gives up. The referee calls for the bell. The winner of the match, Gunner. It was odd to see Gunner bloodied make Storm not bloodied submit. But the story of this match was Gunner never succumbing to anything, no matter how bad it looks. Storm giving up so quickly, a minor disappointment, but nevertheless, it did not affect the match. As both men move on to new programs, what will become of the World Tag Team Title Shot briefcase, last seen in Storm's possession? Or does it still technically belong to Gunner? It's a mystery that may never be solved. So then we see Jeremy Borash backstage with the beautiful people. I'm sorry, did Angelina and Velvet say anything relevant? No? Okay. So then we have the Women's Championship, Madison Rayne defending against Angelina Love with Velvet Sky. Terrible match. Angelina Love wins with a roll-up. She is the new Women's Champion. The women's division sucks. Next. So then we see Jeremy Borash backstage with Bully Ray. Bully Ray says that he was given time to talk about his match with Robert Roode, but he says that it's time to get it on. Bully Ray puts over Roode as a great wrestler, but says that it's not about wrestling now. It's about putting Roode through the wood, which he says he's going to do. A video segment on some of the history between Bully Ray and Robert Roode leads into the tables match, Bully Ray versus Robert Roode. Decent match. The match ends with Bully Ray powerbombing Roode through the wood, but the referee doesn't see it because of the contact he made with Roode that never happened. Bully Ray leaves the ring and returns with another table. He sets it up and positions Roode, but Roode counters with a spine buster. He goes for the fireman's carry cutter, but Bully Ray escapes and shoves Roode to the corner. Bully charges, but Roode gives him an elbow. Roode goes to the middle rope and comes off, but Bully Ray takes him in midair and executes the Bully cutter. Roode rolls out of the ring and Bully goes out as well and punches Roode, which puts Roode onto a table outside the ring. Bully goes to the top rope and prepares to come off, but then someone pushes him off. Roode is already out of the way and Bully Ray goes through the table. The winner of the match, Robert Roode. This someone was Dixie Carter in disguise, dressed in black, hair up, wearing a hat, glasses, and a fake mustache and beard. This really brought down the pay-per-view. A match like this that deserved a definitive finish didn't get it. And for those of you who still don't believe Vince Russo is running creative, consulting, this should have been your clincher. So then we see Jeremy Borash backstage with Magnus. Magnus says that he is by himself because of Dixieland, as well as his association with Abyss being the reason that his title reign sucked. He calls Eric Young a hypocrite and says that the wrestler that uses his brain will prevail, regardless of what he's called. So then we have the World Heavyweight Championship. Eric Young defending against Magnus. Solid match. The match ends with Magnus going under the ring and pulling out some nail pliers. He goes back in, but the referee takes the tool away. Magnus goes for a kick, but Young catches his foot, spins him around, gives him a kick, and power drives him. He goes for the pin, but Magnus kicks out. Young goes for another power driver, but Magnus tries to counter with his own power driver. However, Young takes him down and catapults him into the corner turnbuckle. Magnus stumbles back toward Young, and Young hits the second power driver. Then he goes to the top rope and comes off with a flying elbow drop to get the 3. The winner of the match, Eric Young. Show ends. The first obstacle for Eric Young on his way to being a credible champion has been completed. He scored a clean win in his first title defense on the pay-per-view. With this, as well as his Monsters Ball win over Abyss, Young has already provided immediate relief from the pain endured by Magnus' crappy title reign. TNA sent a clear message that Young is their guy. Now, if only TNA could send similar messages for certain other members of talent. I'm Tazmar 2002, and that was my TNA Sacrifice 2014 analysis for April 27th, 2014. If you're listening to me on YouTube, you can leave your comments below. Click the like or dislike button, and if you subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you're listening to me on the Wrestling News Talk Facebook page, you can leave your comments below and click the like button if you like what I've been saying. If you have any questions or comments for me about TNA or wrestling in general, you can reach me on Twitter, Tazmark2002, that's TAZMARK2002. And if your comments exceed the 140, get at me with an email, Tazmark2002@gmail.com. And be sure to watch the TNA Impact review that I do with Chuck P. live every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time on Chuck P's YouTube channel. And if you can't watch us live, you can always watch the archive. Decent show. Decent show. The news officially came out recently that Vince Russo is working as a consultant to the TNA Creative Division. Russo passes ideas to John Gaburick, the head of creative, who has the final decision. For someone who's only a consultant, a lot of Russo's ideas, a lot of them, have been getting through for the last several months. Some of you may remember when I said that the Kingmaker has the real power because he controls the king. John Gaburick, King. Vince Russo, Kingmaker. Welcome to the wasteland. I'm Tazmark 2002. Gone.